Welcome back, my cognitive disruptor. The one who broke their brains with truth. You said it. That one line. That sentence so precise, so perfectly calibrated, so loaded with undeniable truth that it didn't just land, it detonated right in the center of their consciousness. And everything stopped. Not physically, mentally. Their thoughts froze mid-formation. Their arguments collapsed mid-sentence. Their defenses crumbled before they could fully activate. You hit them with something their programming had no response for, something their conditioning couldn't deflect, something their ego couldn't rationalize away. Pure, unfiltered, surgical truth delivered with such calm, precision that it bypassed every defense mechanism they'd built. And now they're stuck, replaying it, analyzing it, trying to find the flaw, trying to locate the weakness, trying to identify where you're wrong. But they can't. Because you weren't wrong. You were accurate. Devastatingly accurate. The kind of accurate that doesn't need defense because reality defends it. The kind of truth that doesn't need explanation because it explains itself. The kind of statement that doesn't need follow-up because it said everything that needed, saying in one perfect, undeniable, unescapable sentence. See, most people speak from emotion, from reaction, from the need to win arguments or defend positions or prove they're right. But you spoke from observation, from pattern recognition, from the place where personal experience meets universal truth. You said something so aligned with reality that even those who wanted to disagree couldn't find solid ground to stand on. You didn't attack them. You didn't insult them. You didn't need to. You just stated a fact, a truth, an observation so clear that denying it would require denying reality itself. And they're not that far gone, not that delusional, not that disconnected, so they're stuck, frozen, processing, trying to integrate what you said with what they believed, trying to reconcile your truth with their narrative, trying to find a way to dismiss you without dismissing themselves. And they can't. Because what you said didn't just challenge their opinion, it challenged their entire framework, their whole way of understanding the situation, their complete perspective on reality. You didn't just win the argument, you collapsed the arena it was happening in. Now they're going through stages. First was shock, that moment right after you spoke, when everything went silent, when eyes widened, when breaths held, when time seemed to pause because consciousness recognized something significant just occurred. That was the impact. The moment your words hit with full force, then came denial. The mental scramble to find reasons why you're wrong, why that can't be true, why their version still holds. But denial only works when truth is debatable. And what you said wasn't debatable. It was demonstrable. It was provable. It was already proven by everything that led to that moment. So denial couldn't hold. It collapsed into the next stage, confusion, the mental fog that settles when old beliefs meet undeniable truth, when programming meets reality, when narrative meets evidence. They're in that fog now, some of them wandering around trying to find their footing, trying to rebuild their understanding, trying to make sense of what you shattered, and they might stay there, might live in that confusion rather than face the final stage, acceptance, admitting you were right, acknowledging their perspective was flawed, recognizing they need to update their entire framework. Some will make it there, eventually, when the confusion becomes more uncomfortable than the truth. But others won't. They'll choose confusion over clarity, because clarity requires change, and change requires courage, and courage requires humility they don't have. Let's talk about what actually happened in their minds. Because this wasn't just intellectual disagreement. This was cognitive restructuring forced by truth. Their brains literally stopped normal processing. Neural pathways that usually activate during conversation went dormant. Defense mechanisms that typically fire when beliefs are challenged failed to engage. The usual script of how to respond, how to deflect, how to maintain their position, all of it became unavailable because your statement was too precise, too accurate, too aligned with observable reality. Their mind recognized truth before their ego could mobilize defense. And that recognition created a gap, a pause, a moment where the machinery of thought stopped running and consciousness just witnessed, just absorbed, just felt the weight of what was said. That's rare. Most people never experience someone speaking truth so clearly that their mind can't immediately reject it. Most conversations stay surface level. Most arguments remain in safe territory where both sides can maintain their positions indefinitely. But you went deeper. You spoke from a place so clear, so grounded, so undeniably true that their mind had no protocol for handling it. So it froze, stopped, waited. Like a computer encountering code it doesn't know how to execute. Now they're in processing mode, running background programs trying to integrate what you said, trying to fit it into their existing worldview, trying to maintain their sense of self while acknowledging the truth you revealed. This creates internal tension, cognitive dissonance, the uncomfortable feeling of holding two contradictory beliefs simultaneously. Part of them knows you're right, feels it, recognizes it, can't deny it, but another part needs you to be wrong, needs their original position to hold, needs their narrative to remain intact. These two parts are at war now, battling for dominance, fighting for control of their consciousness, and they're exhausted by it, drained by the constant mental energy required to maintain contradiction, to hold opposing truths, to deny what they know while knowing they're denying it. That's the real impact of what you said. Not that you changed their mind immediately, but that you planted truth they can't uproot, installed knowing they can't uninstall, activated awareness they can't deactivate. It's in there, now, permanent, growing, expanding. No matter how hard, they try to ignore it, minimize it, or rationalize it away. The architects of thought are studying this phenomenon, how one perfectly delivered truth can create cascade effects in consciousness, how precision language can bypass normal defenses, how aligned speech can penetrate where argument fails. You demonstrated something they've been trying to engineer, the ability to deliver truth in a way that mind can't immediately reject, that consciousness recognizes before ego can interfere, that reality confirms before belief can deny. Most communication doesn't achieve this. Most speech gets filtered through existing frameworks. Most statements get interpreted through established narratives. But yours didn't. Yours cut through, clean, surgical, precise, like a blade so sharp the cut isn't felt until the wound is already open. They didn't realize what hit them until after it hit, didn't recognize the power of what you said until their mind was already processing it, didn't understand they'd been changed until the change was already occurring. That's mastery. That's what happens when someone speaks from deep truth with calm delivery. When wisdom meets timing, when knowing meets expression, you became the vector for something they needed to hear but didn't want to, and now they can't unhear it. Now watch what's happening in real time. They're bringing it up, repeatedly, to others, to themselves, in conversations you're not part of, in thoughts they can't control. Your line keeps surfacing, keeps replaying, keeps demanding attention, because unintegrated truth doesn't stay buried. It resurfaces, persistently, insistently, until it's processed, until it's acknowledged, until it's accepted or consciously rejected. And conscious rejection requires justification they don't have, requires reasoning they can't manufacture, requires evidence they can't produce. So it keeps coming back, keeps knocking, keeps asking to be let in, and every time it surfaces, it weakens their resistance a little more, erodes their denial a little further, moves them closer to the inevitable acceptance that you were right and they weren't, that their perspective was limited and yours was clear, that their understanding was flawed and yours was accurate. This process takes time, can't be rushed, can't be forced, has to unfold at the pace consciousness can handle without completely shattering. Some minds are more flexible, more willing to update, more capable of admitting error. Those ones will process faster, will integrate sooner, will reach acceptance with less suffering. But others are rigid, defended, invested in being right more than being accurate. Those ones will take longer, will suffer more, will fight the truth longer before finally surrendering to it. You're watching this happen, seeing the different speeds, observing the various stages. Some already reached out, already admitted you had a point, already started the conversation that leads to full acknowledgement. Those are the secure ones, the ones whose identity isn't so fragile that admitting error threatens their whole sense of self. But others are still in denial, still trying to find the flaw, still searching for the angle that proves you wrong. And they might find it, might convince themselves of a counter-narrative that lets them maintain their original position, but it'll be hollow, it'll be forced, it'll be the kind of belief that requires constant reinforcement, because deep down they know it's not true. They know you were right, they just can't afford to admit it yet, can't handle what that admission would mean, can't face the cascade of other beliefs that would need updating if they accepted this one truth, so they'll maintain the lie, to themselves, to others, to anyone who'll listen. But the lie will cost them, will drain them, will require energy that could be used for growth, but instead gets burned maintaining fiction. That's the price of choosing comfort over truth, choosing ego over accuracy, choosing familiar lies over uncomfortable reality. Meanwhile, you're unbothered. You said what needed saying. You delivered truth with precision. You don't need them to accept it immediately. Don't need validation of your accuracy. Don't need acknowledgement that you were right. You know what you said was true. Know it was accurate. Know it landed exactly as intended. And that knowing is enough. You're not waiting for their acceptance, not hoping for their acknowledgement, not needing their validation. You spoke your truth and released it. Let it do its work. Let it process at whatever pace their consciousness can handle. Let it unfold however it needs to unfold. That's power, real power. The kind that doesn't need confirmation because it's already certain. Doesn't need agreement because it's already complete. Doesn't need approval because it's already aligned with reality. You became the truth teller who doesn't need listeners to validate what was spoken, who doesn't need believers to confirm what was stated, who doesn't need followers to prove what was right. You just spoke and let truth handle the rest. The ripple effects are just beginning, because what you said didn't just affect the immediate audience. It affected everyone they tell, everyone who hears the story, everyone who gets the second-hand account of the moment you spoke and minds stopped. Your line is spreading, moving through networks, traveling through conversations, and everywhere it goes, it has the same effect. Pause. Processing. That moment where thought stops, because truth demands acknowledgement. Some are hearing it and immediately recognizing its accuracy. Some are hearing it and immediately getting defensive. But everyone is hearing it. Everyone is processing it. Everyone is being affected by it. Because truth at that frequency doesn't stay contained. It broadcasts, it transmits, it spreads through consciousness like signal through circuitry. And every mind that receives it has to decide. Accept or reject, integrate or resist, evolve or defend. There's no neutral ground with truth this clear. No middle position between accurate and inaccurate. No comfortable fence to sit on between reality and fantasy. Your line forced a choice, demanded a response, required a decision, and that requirement is what makes it powerful. Not that it convinced everyone immediately, but that it made everyone choose, made everyone take a position, made everyone reveal where they stand in relation to truth. Now you're seeing who's who values truth over comfort, who chooses accuracy over ego, who picks reality over narrative. The line became a sorting mechanism, a filter, a test, that separated those committed to growth from those committed to being right. Those committed to truth passed through, integrated what you said, updated their understanding, expanded their perspective. Those committed to ego got stuck, rejected what you said, maintained their position, defended their narrative, and now the two groups are visible, distinguished, separated by their response to one perfectly delivered truth. You didn't try to create this division, didn't intend to separate people. Just spoke honestly, just shared what you observed, just expressed what was true. But truth always divides, always separates, always distinguishes between those who can handle it and those who can't, between those willing to evolve and those determined to stay stuck, between those brave enough to face reality and those comfortable enough to maintain illusion. Your line did that, drew that line, created that distinction, made that separation visible. The architects are taking notes, because this is how consciousness evolution actually works. Not through gentle persuasion or careful convincing or patient explanation, but through precise truth delivered at the right moment with the right energy to the right audience. Truth that doesn't apologize, doesn't soften, doesn't accommodate fragile egos or comfortable lies. Truth that just states what is, clearly, directly, undeniably, and lets recipients decide how to respond. That's what you delivered. That's what created the cognitive freeze. That's what's still processing in their minds. Not gentle guidance, not careful suggestion, not diplomatic phrasing, just raw, unfiltered, undeniable truth. The kind that doesn't need decoration to be powerful, doesn't need explanation to be clear, doesn't need justification to be right. It just is. And when something just is, when truth presents itself with that level of purity, consciousness has to respond, has to engage, has to process, can't ignore, can't dismiss, can't pretend it didn't happen. Your line made sure of that, made sure every mind that heard it had to deal with it, had to process it, had to decide what to do with it. And that decision, that processing, that engagement, that's still happening. In minds across your network, in conversations you'll never hear, in thoughts you'll never witness. Your truth is doing its work, and you don't even have to be present for it. Let's address what made that line so devastating. Because it wasn't just what you said, it was how you said it. The calm delivery, the absence of emotion, the matter-of-fact tone that carried more weight than any passionate speech. You didn't raise your voice, didn't add dramatic emphasis, didn't perform the profundity. You just stated it. Like stating the sky is blue, like noting water is wet, like observing fire is hot. Self-evident truth delivered with the confidence of someone who knows they're not debating, they're just describing reality. And that delivery, that energy, that frequency, it multiplied the impact. Because when truth comes without performance, it hits different. When accuracy arrives without aggression, it penetrates deeper. When reality gets stated without emotion, it's harder to dismiss as bias or opinion or perspective. It just is, undeniable, unavoidable, undecorated by anything that could be used to discredit it. You stripped away every excuse they could use to reject it, every angle they could use to dismiss it, every opening they could use to deflect it. You delivered pure truth in pure form, and pure truth, delivered purely, is the most powerful force in human interaction. Now they're analyzing your tone, trying to find emotion they can attack, trying to locate bias they can point to, trying to identify anger or resentment or ego
they can use to undermine your credibility.
But they can't find it, because it wasn't there. You spoke from observation, not emotion, from clarity, not reaction, from knowing, not needing to prove. That absence of attachment is what made it undeniable. You didn't need them to believe you, didn't need them to agree with you, didn't need them to validate you. You just stated what you observed, what you knew, what was true, and that lack of need, that complete detachment from their response, That's what gave your words ultimate power. Because people can reject someone who needs them to accept the truth, can dismiss someone who's emotionally invested in being right, can ignore someone who's performing wisdom, but they can't reject someone who simply states reality without caring if it's accepted, can't dismiss someone who's completely detached from the outcome, can't ignore someone whose truth doesn't need their validation to remain true. You became that someone, that voice, that frequency, the one who speaks truth and walks away, doesn't wait for applause, doesn't need acknowledgement, doesn't require belief, just speaks and releases, just shares and moves on, just states and trusts that truth will do what truth does. This is the evolution you've been moving toward, the place where you're so certain of what, that external validation becomes irrelevant, where you're so clear on what's true that debate becomes unnecessary, where you're so aligned with reality that opinion becomes meaningless. You don't need to convince anyone anymore, don't need to argue your position, don't need to defend your perspective. You just state it, clearly, calmly, precisely, and let it land however it lands. Let it process however it processes. Let it affect whoever it affects. That's mastery. That's what happens when someone completes the internal work to the point where external validation is no longer needed. When self-knowledge is so complete that other people's doubt doesn't create self-doubt. When alignment is so total that disagreement doesn't create uncertainty. You reach that place, that frequency, that level of knowing. And now when you speak from there, from that centered, certain, completely detached place, your words carry weight that performance could never achieve, carry power that emotion could never generate, carry truth that decoration could never enhance. You became the pure signal, and pure signal is what stopped their minds. Now the secondary effects are manifesting. People who weren't even in the conversation are feeling the impact, because those who heard you speak can't stop talking about it, can't stop referencing it, can't stop bringing it up as the moment everything changed. Your line became legend, became story, became the reference point for before and after. Before you spoke, the narrative was one thing. After you spoke, it became another. Before that moment, their understanding was intact. After that moment, it shattered. Before those words, they were comfortable. After those words, they were confronted. Your line drew a timeline, created a demarcation, established a boundary between the old understanding and the new reality. And everyone knows it. Everyone references it. Everyone uses it as the moment when truth broke through, when clarity cut through confusion, when accuracy exposed error. You didn't plan to create that moment, didn't prepare the perfect statement, didn't rehearse the devastating line. It just came, in the flow, in the moment, in the precise instant when consciousness and expression aligned perfectly to deliver exactly what needed to be said, exactly how it needed to be said. That's not luck. That's alignment. That's what happens when someone does enough internal work that external expression becomes pure, when healing reaches the point where truth flows unfiltered. You reached that level, that alignment, that flow, and the result was that line, that moment, that impact that's still reverberating. The architects call this a truth bomb, a perfectly calibrated statement that detonates understanding and rebuilds perception. But it's more than that. It's a frequency transmission disguised as conversation. It's consciousness evolution packaged as dialogue. It's awakening catalyst delivered through language. Your words carried more than meaning. They carried energy, frequency, the signature of someone operating from such clarity that even the vibration of their speech affects listeners. That's why it stopped their minds. Not just the content, the frequency, not just what you said, what you carried when you said it. The energy of absolute certainty, the vibration of undeniable truth, the frequency of complete alignment. All of that transmitted through your words, through your tone, through your presence. and all of that hit their consciousness simultaneously, creating overload, creating pause, creating that freeze where normal processing stops and something deeper activates. That's what you did, not consciously, not deliberately, but naturally, as the result of who you've become through all the work you've done, all the healing you've completed, all the growth you've achieved. You became someone whose very presence carries frequency that affects others, whose very speech transmits energy that transforms listeners, whose very existence radiates truth that awakens consciousness. And that line, that moment, that freeze in their minds, that was just one example of what happens when you speak, when you share, when you express from that level of alignment. Now you're understanding the responsibility that comes with this, because when your words carry this much power, when your speech creates this much impact, when your truth generates this much response, you have to be careful. Not careful in the sense of censoring yourself, but careful in the sense of ensuring what you speak is actually true, is actually aligned, is actually coming from clarity, not confusion. Because power this potent can be used for truth or manipulation, for awakening or control, for elevation or domination. The difference is internal, is whether you're speaking from ego or essence, from need or knowing, from attachment or detachment. You're speaking from the right place, from essence, from knowing, from detachment. That's why your line was devastating without being destructive, powerful without being harmful, impactful without being manipulative. The cognitive freeze you created is a gift, not to them initially. Initially it's uncomfortable, disorienting, challenging, but ultimately it's a gift, because that freeze, that pause, that moment where thought stops, it creates space. Space for new understanding, space for updated perspective, space for evolved awareness. Most people never get that space. Their minds run constantly, processing, defending, maintaining their narratives without pause. But you created pause. You forced stop. You generated the gap between what they believed and what's actually true. And in that gap, transformation becomes possible. Evolution becomes accessible. Growth becomes inevitable. Some will use the gap, will let it expand, will allow new understanding to fill it. Those ones will thank you eventually, will recognize that your line, uncomfortable as it was, created the opening they needed, created the space they couldn't create themselves, created the opportunity to evolve beyond where they were stuck. But others will try to close the gap, will rush to fill it with their old beliefs, will scramble to restore their original narrative before new truth can take root. Those ones will miss the opportunity, will waste the gift, will return to comfort instead of embracing growth, and they'll regret it later when life forces them to face the same truth again, when reality demands acknowledgement of what you already pointed out, when circumstances create another gap they can't close with old beliefs. They'll remember this moment. Remember when you gave them the chance to evolve voluntarily. Remember when truth was offered clearly before it was forced, painfully. And they'll wish they'd taken the gift when it was given. You're not responsible for how they use the pause. Not accountable for whether they grow or stay stuck. Not obligated to guide them through the process. You did your part. You spoke truth. You created the opening. You offered the opportunity. What they do with it is their choice, their responsibility, their consequence to live with. And you're at peace with that. At peace with speaking and releasing. At peace with giving and detaching. At peace with offering and accepting whatever response comes. That peace, that detachment, that surrender to outcome, that's the final piece of mastery. Most people stay attached to how their truth is received. Need it to be accepted, need it to be acknowledged, need it to be appreciated, but you've transcended that need. You speak because truth demands expression, because clarity requests voice, because knowing seeks articulation, not because you need validation, not because you want recognition, not because you expect gratitude. You speak because that's what aligned consciousness does. It shares, it expresses, it articulates, and then it releases. Lets go, moves on, trusts that whatever is meant to land will land. Whatever is meant to process will process. Whatever is meant to transform will transform. And whatever is meant to bounce off will bounce off. You can't control the reception, can only control the transmission. And your transmission was perfect, clear, precise, aligned. What happens after that isn't your concern, isn't your burden, isn't your responsibility. That's theirs. Now you're watching different people at different stages. Some integrated immediately, already updated their understanding, already incorporated your truth into their worldview. Those are the flexible ones, the growth-oriented ones, the truth-seeking ones. They're lighter now, clearer, more aligned because they received the gift and used it. But others are still frozen, still processing, still caught between what they believed and what you revealed. Those are in the middle, could go either way, might integrate or might reject. Time will tell. But some are already rejecting, already building defenses, already constructing counter-narratives. Those are the rigid ones, the ego-identified ones, the comfort-seeking ones. They're heavier now, more defensive, more stuck, because they rejected the gift and doubled down on their original position. And you can see all of it, can observe all the stages, can witness all the responses without judgment, without attachment, without need for any particular outcome, just observing, just witnessing, just noting what happens when truth meets consciousness at various stages of evolution. The statement you made is becoming case study. People are using it as example, as reference point, as demonstration of how to deliver truth effectively. They're analyzing the structure, the timing, the delivery, trying to replicate what you did naturally, trying to manufacture what you manifested authentically, but they'll struggle because what you did can't be copied, can't be performed, can't be replicated through technique. It only happens when someone is so completely aligned that truth flows unfiltered, when healing is so complete that wisdom speaks unedited, when growth is so thorough that knowing expresses undiluted. You can't fake that, can't simulate it, can't manufacture it through strategy or practice or rehearsal. It only emerges from genuine internal alignment, from real self-knowledge, from authentic clarity. That's why your line had impact, theirs won't. Why your statement created freeze, theirs can't. Why your truth generates processing, theirs doesn't. You weren't performing, you were being, weren't strategizing, you were flowing, weren't calculating, you were expressing. And that authenticity, that genuineness, that purity, that's what made it powerful. That's what made it penetrating. That's what made it undeniable. Now others want the formula, want the technique, want the method that creates that kind of impact. But there is no formula, no technique, no method, just alignment, just clarity, just authenticity, just the result of doing deep work until speaking truth becomes natural, until expressing reality becomes effortless, until articulating what is becomes automatic. You don't think about it anymore, don't plan it, don't strategize it. You just open your mouth and truth flows. Just engage conversation and clarity speaks. Just participate in dialogue and wisdom articulates. That's what years of inner work creates. That's what consistent self-examination produces. That's what unwavering commitment to truth generates. The ability to speak from such depth that words carry weight beyond their surface meaning, carry frequency beyond their literal content, carry power beyond their grammatical structure. Your words became vehicles for something deeper, something that can't be taught but must be cultivated, something that can't be learned but must be earned, something that can't be given but must be grown. And you grew it through every hard truth you faced about yourself, through every shadow you integrated, through every belief you examined, through every pattern you recognized, through Through every wound, you healed. Through every mask, you removed. You grew the capacity to speak truth that stops minds, to deliver clarity that freezes thought, to express reality that demands processing. The architects recognize this is rare. Estimate maybe 1% of humans ever reach this level of aligned expression, where words and knowing merge so completely that speaking becomes transmission, where conversation becomes activation, where dialogue becomes awakening catalyst. You joined that 1%, not through effort to join it, but through commitment to truth that naturally resulted in membership. You didn't try to be impactful. You tried to be authentic, didn't aim for powerful speech. You aimed for accurate expression, didn't pursue influence. You pursued alignment, and influence became byproduct. Power became consequence. Impact became result, not the goal. The natural outcome of someone becoming so completely themselves that their very existence affects others, that their very presence transforms environments, that their very words reorganize consciousness. You became walking truth, living clarity, breathing alignment. And when you speak from that depth of integration, from that level of wholeness, from that frequency of authenticity, minds stop. Not because you're attacking them, because you're revealing reality they can't deny. Not because you're manipulating them, because you're expressing truth they already know, but haven't acknowledged. Not because you're controlling them, because you're reflecting what their soul recognizes even when their ego resists. Now the line has taken on life of its own. It exists independent of you, spreads independent of your involvement, affects independent of your presence. That's the nature of truth, spoken clearly. It becomes autonomous, self-replicating, viral in the original sense. It reproduces through those who heard it, through those who recognize its accuracy, through those who feel its resonance. They share it, not as your words, as their truth, not as your observation, as their knowing, not as your line, as the thing that needed to be said. And in that sharing, in that transmission, in that reproduction, it loses attribution but gains power. Because now it's not one person's perspective, it's collective recognition, it's shared awareness, it's universal truth being acknowledged through multiple voices. You started something, spoke something, released something, and now it lives beyond you, spreads beyond your reach, impacts beyond your knowing. That's the ultimate measure of truth. Not whether it's attributed to you, but whether it continues without you, whether it grows independent of your involvement, whether it transforms consciousness, whether you're present or not. Your line passed that test. Your statement achieved that status. Your truth reached that level. Some still credit you, still reference you as the source, still attribute the line to you. Those are the ones who were there, who witnessed the moment, who saw minds freeze in real time. They'll always associate those words with you, with that moment, with the before and after of understanding. But others encounter the line, second-hand, third-hand, removed from original context. They don't know who said it, don't know where it came from, don't know the story behind it. They just know it's true, know it's accurate, know it's something that needed saying, and they adopt it, make it their own, use it in their own contexts, apply it to their own situations. The line lives through them now, too, serves their evolution, supports their awakening, facilitates their growth, and you're fine with that. Fine with it spreading anonymously, fine with it helping people who'll never know you said it, fine with it transforming consciousness, whether you get credit or not. Because this was never about credit, never about recognition, never about being known as the one who said the thing. This was about truth needing voice, about clarity needing expression, about reality needing articulation. You were the vehicle, the channel, the voice truth used, but truth itself, the actual content, the real power that belongs to no one, that serves everyone, that exists beyond individual ownership. Now you're free, free from the need to be remembered as the source, free from the desire to be credited as the origin. free from the attachment to being known as the one who spoke truth. The line lives. That's what matters. The line spreads. That's what counts. The line transforms. That's the goal. Everything else is ego, his need for recognition, his desire for validation, and you've transcended those needs, those desires, those attachments. You spoke because speaking was aligned, because expression was natural, because articulation was necessary, not because you wanted credit for speaking, not because you needed recognition for articulating, not because you desired validation for expressing. You've reached the place where truth is its own reward, where clarity is its own satisfaction, where alignment is its own fulfillment. And from that place, you can speak powerfully without needing power acknowledged, can deliver truth profoundly without needing profundity recognized, can create impact massively without needing impact credited. That's the ultimate evolution, the final transcendence, the complete liberation. You spoke. Mine stopped. Truth spread. Mission complete. Everything after that is just watching it unfold, just witnessing it grow, just observing it serve, without attachment, without ownership, without need for anything beyond knowing you spoke. What needed speaking when it needed speaking. That's enough. That's everything. That's mastery.